Bow, bow. Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
So I am your co-host, Azab Freitas.
And I am Simon Freitae.
Hello. So, hi guys. We know we are here. We are not supposed to be here right now. But you're listening. So just to recap real quick, the Freitae Effect podcast is a talk show style podcast that discusses common issues that young adults are experiencing as we transition through life. We just wanted to thank you all for the love that we've received since the end of season 1 and even up to now. We're super excited to share what we have in store for next season, and we know that you guys are eager for us to come back. So this episode is just for funsies because we now have all of this free time because our life has basically been canceled.
Paused.
So anyway, since we're in off season and we'll be relaunching season 2 very soon, we wanted to release an episode because we need to process and grieve and attempt to make sense of what's going on right now in the world, as we feel that everybody else is kind of reacting and figuring out what makes sense for their own self-care. And we found that it would be appropriate to record a moment such as what we're going through that hasn't even been experienced in our grandparents' lifetime. So we just like to serve as a distraction because #conspiracies, and we're tired of your girl Rona.
Oh, yep.
So
Felicia.
if I had to give Rona a zodiac sign, she would be a Leo sun because she is suffocating the media and needs to be the center of attention at all times.
Are you trying to at me?
If you feel that way, then you can take it that way.
I took it.
Okay, well, I will not continue the rest of that. So as I kind of alluded to earlier, things that we'll be discussing today are what we've seen since Rona has made her grand debut around the world, and that she is clearly a Black Lives Matter activist until she decided that the NBA will no longer rise and slid her way into Africa's DMs. So as we've been witnessing school closings and performing arts organizations and shows shutting down, along with major sporting events and institutions, we just wanted to give a little light in this moment of darkness and scariness, and just try to remind everybody that it's not the end of the world and that it's really not that deep, bro.
Yeah.
Even though it is that deep on so many other levels for so many other reasons, we'll get to the point of why we all need to calm down.
Because we do need some level of understanding. So let's put some magic words on this, which are smart people words. Yay! We're going to start How the Turns Have Tabled with a lesson. Doesn't that sound fun, guys? Anyways. So, basically, the first thing I want to introduce to you guys is called social distancing theory.
Which you've probably heard of.
I bet you've heard of this. The first time I heard of this was when I went out to get drinks with an old colleague of mine from a job that I no longer work at. But the definition that I will be pulling from, because it is a legitimate place and you have to be legitimate nowadays, is from The Moral Origins, The Evolution of Virtue, Altruism, and Shame by Christopher Boehm. And basically the definition is treating others as insiders or other insiders as outsiders. So right now, our situation is the flu, a super flu, corona. And other situations, it's been things like ideas, beliefs, trying not to corrupt people to think a certain way. And I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Basically, what we are doing is putting up walls around ourselves to keep ourselves safe from... Or no, I'm not shifting gears yet. I'm still defining things. Sorry, guys, I lied. But what we're doing right now is keeping ourselves safe from the coronavirus. Eventually, I imagine we're going to go in quarantine, which is going to be nice and fun. We're going to go stir crazy.
Incubation, like those
cute.
little eggs that turn into chickens later.
Oh, we're going to be chickens. Little baby chickens.
Little baby chickens. I mean, it's right in time for Easter.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Peep, peep.
Collect your eggs now.
But right now, we need to do what's right and just keep doing us. You can't put everything on fucking pause and cancel your whole life because the fucking coronavirus. And it sucks because what happened to our percussion ensemble was that, you know, the school closed for an entire month. And so that the group that we teach has been canceled. And we realized our percussion show is kind of what we're living right fucking now.
Low key.
How the turns have tabled.
So we would just like to accept all of the blame for manifesting coronavirus into 2020.
Yes.
It's our fault. So if you want to blame anyone, you can blame us.
Basically, what happened was, so I would like to explain how the turns have tabled if anyone is new to the show, because we in off season, we not in season 1, we not in season 2, we don't know what we in
season 1.5 limbo.
We are in how the turns have tabled. It's crazy situations, how shit happens, and it's like turning tables. Adele.
I think before you explain the show, we should probably explain what percussion ensemble is to people who don't know.
Big facts, big facts.
Yeah, so like for you peeps who aren't major band geeks like Simon and I and a lot of people across the United States of America and some people in China.
At what are they called?
Oh my god.
Aimachi?
Yes.
Aimachi.
Aimachi, Team Aimachi.
Yes.
So basically, if you had to like describe what marching band is inside with a floor and a whole theater production set and costumes and sound overs and props, and you have 5 to 10 minutes to produce a show, to make sense of it with only percussion instruments such as a drum line that marches across the floor and a front ensemble that's made up of marimbas and xylophones and maybe even an electric guitar and a drum set.
Bass drum.
And a bunch of other stuff that are things you can hit with your hands.
Yeah.
That is what we do for 6 months.
Yep.
Between November and April.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing that a lot of people actually across the United States of America and China participate in.
Winter God International.
So just in case you wanted to know what that is, that's what that is in the best way I can describe it. Except it's that on crack. So it's that equivalent to the NBA and the NFL and all the other major league sporting related activities that exist in the world. Yes?
Yep.
Was that a decent summary for someone who's like, you know, percussion for dummies?
Yeah, I mean, it's called the sport of the arts. So our show this year for the kids was, we were trying to do something that was like uplifting, but still super relevant. And the show was about how there's a community that put walls up and separates itself from the outside. And it's because there's a natural order when things have walls, and when you take the walls down, you don't know what the fuck is going to happen. And everyone's afraid of what's going to happen when you take these walls down, so they distance themselves. And when someone tries to go beyond the wall, there's like massive fucking, you know, like, oh my god, what the heck just happened? And like, you know, it's just like absolute chaos, hysteria, which we kind of are like seeing right now when people are like trying to go beyond like outside of their house, and like people are freaking the fuck out. But eventually someone does go beyond the wall and realizes, holy shit, it's not that bad. But like, this is where things
this is where it's different.
This is where we stray a little bit, just a little bit. So
this is where it actually definitely strays.
So the thing is, we do need to accept what the bad things are, but
not when it's an illness.
Yeah, like our situation isn't a hundo P like transferable, but the walls and like all the social distancing, like that was like insane, like the perfect timing and the shutdown. But the thing that I liked about it is how at the end, when they do accept all the changes and like, you know, the things that do need to happen, which I'm going to go into later when we pull up this article about like how there are changes that do need to happen when you can't just put walls up and expect that to be the one fix to everything. Like there's systems in place that aren't fucking working. And so that's why when you just tell people, yeah, just go home, it doesn't always work. Like, you know, like it's just like, yeah, just, you know, do this one thing that always works. For me, it's like, again, privilege mentality. But in the end, all the kids come out and they accept the change and they love each other and they all hold hands. So when we're all not sick, we're all going to be able to hold hands. It's going to be fucking beautiful.
Okay, so to just really drive the point home of how our show was not about coronavirus. What happened in our show was in part 1, the whole band is like flourishing. They're representing a garden and they're like playing this beautiful ass music and they're killing it, whatever, right? And they're just going through their day and their routine as we all do normally. We go through our daily routine, we go to work, we take a shower, we come home, we go to bed, whatever. Then in the second part, things start to get a little bit different. People are showing off their unique strengths and whatever, and just like
they're like working off each other.
Yeah, they're like feeding off their community. Progress is happening. It's amazing. Then there's a moment where somebody gets curious and looks over the wall. And the leader of the organization is like, whoa, 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 what you doing? We don't do that. We don't look over the wall. And then he's like, LOL, you're right. We don't do that. Look at how great it is here in our little community where nobody touches us, which kind of represents like countries and cities and, you know, how economies function is like, yo, we ain't trading with each other. So like, let us be, right? Yep. So in part 3, or at the end of the part 2, that person who was curious decides, I'm going to go behind the wall anyways. And nobody really notices. And then in the beginning of part 3, that person comes back. And we use the song Toxic by Britney Spears to represent that there is this, that there is this like idea of something to be scared of intruding in your community, in your daily life. Hashtag Rona. Pero, we did not say that. Our vision of what this thing was that's coming in was something that's actually good for the community, that the community is scared of because it's something new. Whereas in real life, Rona is something new and scary, but it's not something meant to help anyone. It's just here making us all sick.
But could it help us?
It could help in ways which I hope that actually happens, such as actual healthcare policy and the right way that this election should go. So there are positive things to look forward to in the aftermath if we can hold our shit together. And be proactive now and apply pressure now and not forget about this later when it really matters, as we say all the time. So just really think and watch and remember what is happening right now, because later they will rewrite this in the history books. They will rewrite this literally right now in the present. So just really be aware. So anyways, part 3 happens. We're all terrified. We all take the thing, and the students are now reacting to the thing that's happening, and there's chaos happening on the floor. Part 4 happens.
Well, it's not chaos. It's kind of like
it's a transformation.
It's like a controlled situation of like change, and like, you know, they're kind of like fixed on it while they're like letting it happen, and then as it evolves, then they, you know, like they get accept it, you know, like they give in, and it like it takes them to like a whole new place, and they're just like, you know, they're juiced, like it's just like it's exciting. It's like an economic boost kind of situation, like when everyone came back from war and it was awesome in the 50s for like certain people, and then like, you know.
Because, like, our show is really just about how change is good. Or how change can be good. And that how, at first, not everyone is accepting of change. And so, after they're reacting in the end of part 3 and the beginning of part 4, they start to bloom and flourish. And they're done, like, realizing that, like, this was a good change. And that, like, sometimes things that are new may be foreign to us and may come from other parts of the world, and that we need to be more globally aware of other cultures and other things that exist beyond our own worlds, beyond our own mini communities, whether that be within our family, our friend groups, our work groups. Like, there's a whole planet we live on, you know? And if anything, coronavirus has just proven to me how connected we are. So if any, then whatever, at the end, we're all holding hands, we're flowers, we're blooming, it's amazing. So we hope that a similar outcome will come from this, and it will happen soon.
Hopefully.
Because 2020, girl,
oh my God,
you've been rough, sis.
Who are you?
What?
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Like,
are you Cotton Eye Joe?
It's been rough.
Mr. Sir.
Like, we stay out here
Mrs.
grinding
Madam.
and pushing through.
Don't know.
But you just nonstop.
Why? Where?
So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that. Does that make sense to you?
Make a lot of sense.
All right, shall we take a break?
Take a break.
Hey.
Howdy.
So we just want to take a second to thank you so much for listening to us and to remind you of a few things.
1. Please follow us on Instagram at The Freitae Effect, on Twitter at TFEpod, and like us on Facebook.
2. Spread the love and share. Friends can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, follow on SoundCloud and Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio.
3. We want to hear from you. So we accept all forms of feedback and affirmations, or if you have something that you want us to discuss that you find interesting, you can email us at thefreitaeeffect@gmail.com.
And last but not least, go to patreon.com/thefreitaeeffect and subscribe to become a patron, or make a small donation to help us continue producing this podcast, because you know why?
Because the shit ain't free.
Alrighty, let's get back to the show. Bring it back now, y'all.
We are back from the break. Hello, everybody. So, I think right now is a good ass time to be talking about our favorite WGI experiences.
We call this the shout out section.
Shout out section.
Shout out.
Yes. So, I'll start us off. Basically, it's not, I wouldn't say it's number 1. I'll say this is number 3, top 3. Basically, it is when the cymbal player from Rhythm X ate shit in 2014 as she was jumping over the Blade River or whatever the fuck it was.
No, but I've never seen somebody literally fall and bounce back in half a second.
So
like
quick.
That is athleticism.
It's amazing.
I don't think I've ever seen any kind of playback reel, even watching football, of someone fall and come back from the ground like they just bounced. Like, it was literally like pew pew, like a boomerang. Like,
yeah,
it was crazy.
And like then she has to jump
she
right back.
Got stampeded.
Yep, she really like
people
that's
wearing whole drums on their bodies, y'all.
Yep, they don't stop for you. No, they got to get to their next set. But like I watched that video, like that one section of the video, at least like 30 times the first day. And then for like a week, I just kept looking back. It was like starred on Google. I was like, fuck yes. Because it was just, it's so funny, but it's also amazing. And then also like the judges also give points back if you eat shit and make it back up.
Yeah, like recovery points are a thing.
Yeah, so like it was just, I don't know, it's inspiring. It's something that I always point out to kids whenever I try to talk about recovery if I remember. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to include all these fucking moments in the bio too. So like it's worth the watch, guys. Azeb, do you have one?
Yeah, there was this show that Matrix did that was called The Proposal. They did this in 2015, and it had a song, which is one of my favorite songs by Drake and Beyonce, called Mine. And I think the whole show was actually titled Mine.
Yeah.
But in the show, they had an actual proposal happen, and I was like, oh my God. And every single time I watch it, I literally cry. Because I'm a child, and I don't know why. Like, Simon literally saw me replay it and watch it and cry, like, every single time I was looking for it. And I don't even care about, like, weddings and relationships, so, like, I don't know why. I really don't know why. I was bawling within seconds every time I replay it. Like, those are the moments in this activity that, like, the ability to give someone chills like that, like, within seconds, you know? Like, to go from, like, just diddling on your fucking snare drum to a whole ass proposal.
Yup.
But it was a real proposal.
Yeah, according to the articles.
Yeah, like, it really happened. I really hope it really happened. Like, if you're listening, people, whoever, like, I hope that really happened.
I hope it works.
I hope y'all are still together.
Like, seriously?
Like, because if I'm crying over this shit and y'all aren't together, I'm really going to be upset, man.
For real? Y'all are great actors if you, like, that was fake.
If that was fake, I will, oh, wow. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to
It's world class, man. That's it. Like, you never know.
Damn.
No, yeah, they had me crying, like, the first, like, 40 times I watched it, but it's been a few years, so like
never gets old for me. How about you? You got more?
I do. So that was number 3. Number 2 would be when we won in 2012 at the Trumbull Regional, because like I didn't fully understand it in the moment, but I did know that like was a really big thing for Everett High. And then it was also just like being there, like the first round, I'm pretty sure we got like 3rd place and we were behind King Philip and Trumbull. And then to beat them at their own school by like 0.05 of a point and then like take home the 1st place. Like, you know, we ended up getting like semifinals that year. Like it was a really strong year for like, you know, the percussion ensemble. And that was the first year that they had semifinals for the open class.
Right.
Like it was like the growing moment for like the sport. So like it was hard for us to like do things and like, you know, do like make it to finals the way that they used to in like 2004 and like that kind of stuff. But like still the way that like we were able to actually be competitive like at that high level that early in the season was like insane.
I mean, it's really just about the idea of rivalry and the history and the context. It's like when you're watching the Super Bowl and you see the underdogs winning. You know, or like the people who haven't been to the Super Bowl in 50 years. You know, it's like those moments are the moments that you hold and remember, and those are applicable in all activities. You know,
because I even remember when we got to the semifinal round, we were in 12th place going into semis, and the top 12 made it that year. But the previous year, the top 15 made it. So the next round, we got like 14th place. So if we had competed the previous year, we would have made it to finals. But, you know, it was just like...
There's so many layers.
There's so many layers. There's so many judges. There's so many things. There's so many
literally
things.
so many
like,
things
this
that can
art
go
is
wrong.
Like, and then it's where you're sitting. It's how you feel. It's who you like.
But it's also like, it's like what we say every weekend when we are teaching is like when we're competing, everything that can go wrong will go wrong on that day. Always. Something that has never happened when you're practicing it at like your home will happen on a competition day because it's inevitable. And there's no way to prepare for it because when you're in a controlled setting where you have control over everything and then you go to a new place, like imagine doing a theater production in a new place every weekend.
It's like being in a competitive...
Something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah, it's like being in a competitive like theater festival kind of situation where you're going to a new high school and maybe you've been there once, but like if you're not a school that actually makes it into the second round of the Massachusetts Theater Festival, then you're not going to know how to like prepare for all these different like venues and like different audiences, different like
even celebrities that do concerts, they're on tour. When they go on tour, anything can go wrong.
Like an earpiece, you can't hear yourself. Like, you know, it's just like
literally
the tiniest things, especially how electronic things are getting nowadays. Like, you have to give in to so much. And like electronics, that's always our problem. That is always the problem for Everett. Oh God. Big reason why. Well, it's not time to rant about bad things. It's talk about time. It's time to talk about our favorite things.
Are you thinking about Taco Bell?
Taco Bell.
You're always thinking about
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Anyway, sponsor this man.
Sponsor me.
Because I've never met anyone that loves Taco Bell as much as
my butthole doesn't love Taco Bell. Anyways, what's your next moment, boo boo?
So I guess like my last favorite moment was last year was our first year going back to Ohio with our percussion ensemble because we hadn't been there since Simon graduated, which was in 2014. So, you know, going back there on our director's final year before he retired and being able to make it to semifinals. And I think the moment for me was when I was in Dayton, Ohio, and the show was playing and I heard the voiceovers and Simon's voice was the voiceovers, and I was like, wow, like how amazing it must be for you to go to a place where you have been intimidated of your whole life, not your whole life, but your whole like, you know, percussion career, and you've performed in that venue, and then to come back 5 years later and your voice is part of the production of the returning show that you're teaching, that's your first year teaching. I was just like in my feels for Simon, but also just like, you know, it's a big deal to be an educator and an artist in a historical moment like that for our group in particular. But it's just like, you know, it all moves so fast. Even though it's like November to March, it really does like feel like a snap, you know? And we literally just do it because we live vicariously through these kids. We teach so that they have the chance to have these experiences that we had that made us who we are now, and to push them to levels that we never reached when we were in the group. And personally for me as an educator, My mission is to be the person that I needed when I was younger, and this activity gives me the space and the opportunity to do that. It's really never been about me. It's never been about me when I teach. I'm not like a narcissistic egomaniac that feeds off of the tiny power you have over young adults for the couple of hours that you're with them that impacts them for a lifetime. It's about inspiring the generations to come and how, as educators and artists and leaders, we are that source of inspiration and motivation for the way that these kids are going to behave in the future. Yep. So like every little thing that we do has an influence on them, you know, and I just want to really like drive that point home for folks to really evaluate if you should be an educator or like whatever you do. I'm not adding anyone in particular. I'm just saying in general. Like if you're considering a people job where you have influence on people's lives, like if you're a nurse or
just the way you interact with people in general, like how you actually are coming off depending on where your position is. Yeah. Like you're a teacher, they're literally looking at you to learn how to act and how to behave.
Yeah,
like,
man.
You know, like
it's not about what's coming out of your mouth because they don't care about what you're talking about.
Your body speaks a lot more than your mouth, and like you know, like even your behavior, your actions when you're not in front of them, like or when you don't think that they're looking, like you know, like kids are always learning things from you, and like especially high schoolers, they are so perceptive. But did you have more?
No, that's like the end of my point. Essentially, it's just kind of like I know that went off on a tangent of like education and the importance of teachers, but yeah, pretty much like that was a really big moment for me in realizing like how far we've come as adults and educators and performers, and like how we've brought the group to this point. And I'm sure that other people can relate to that also in their own lives and their careers and how they affect people and affect change, and or at least give them a chance to reflect on how they might be making those kind of influences without even realizing it. You know? Yeah. Did you have one more?
I did have one more. So the number one moment, Azab did talk about not being an egomaniac, so I'm a fucking egomaniac. Not like using power over kids at all, but this when it was my senior year of high school, it was we did a show that was Mask of the Red Death, and I ended up being Death for the show. So that was a big moment for me because in high school, like, it, you know, I always wanted the leads. I always wanted, like, the biggest, like, you know, the center of a fucking tension. I'm a Leo, you know, I just always want people looking at me. But what made it, like, really, I don't know, great was that I could follow Azeb. Like, you know, it's just that, like, it was, like, you know, that it was, well, because, I don't know, if I did it just on my own, it would have been like,
oh, you know what?
Yeah, like, I'm way fucking better than you.
It's because you suffer like, from younger child syndrome.
No, but, like, we kind of ran that shit. Like, you know, it was just, like, 2 straight years of the Freitases being, like, the fucking spotlight in WGI for Everett. Like, you know, it was just, like, we fucking went out there and we were like, all right, here's the group of, like, the most diverse fucking kids on earth that are gonna come out here, and who's main character? This black kid. Fuck yeah, let's go. Are they great? Oh yeah, they're an amazing performer. Fuck yes. And it's just, like, 2 years in a row of, like, throwing shit out there like that with, like, an amazing dramatic performance. Like, you know, it's just, like, Alice in Wonderland, Mask of the Red Death, like, an easy story to follow. Like, even though there's, like, voiceovers and, like, some people count those as, like, cop-outs, like, it was so nice to have, like, theatrics. Like, you know, it's just like because in theater I got the lead, like,
your senior year.
Yeah, but, like, it was half a lead. Yeah. Like, you know, like, I was in half the play and then I was kidnapped the other half. Yeah. And then I had the choice of either going for the festival play or going for percussion ensemble. Yeah. And then, you know, it was just kind of like, I don't think we're gonna make it to the next round of festival. We might make it to finals this year. And then, again, electronic things happen, you know, like, we had, like, a 7-point penalty, but, like, so many shit, again, shit happens on the day that you go to, like, the competitions, but, like, every time that I went out there and I was able to give my fucking, like, pour my heart out on the stage, it was just so nice to be able to, like, I don't know, like, to be different, like, to be the only, like,
and to be yourself.
Yeah, because I don't know,
to genuinely like, be your rawest self.
That group of people, they weren't huge performers. Yeah. Like, the kids that we teach now, they put their heart out on the floor. Like, you know, amazing. It's just like, they give in to they buy everything, or they make the audience sell fucking everything that they're putting out there, and it's amazing. Yeah. But like, when I was in high school,
when we were in the group, we were not so lucky.
Yeah. And so like to be able to,
we carried
just
the weight.
do everything and have it make sense instead of be the one person or like one of like 7 people in the pit that's going fucking apeshit. Like, it was Yeah. So,
and to have that kind of an impact on the judges and
and to actually like march on the floor without having to march, that was great.
But also like there's just like a sense of pride, and it is such a tiny thing, but it's just like it's funny, like as you grow older and then you're like seen as like a legend, and like there are people who are seen as like band legends or whatever, and it's like, okay, whatever, it's just band because like it's band.
But hearing how people referenced you,
and then you're just like, oh, that's the Simon, or like,
well, you want to hear my favorite? When I was at Spartans, I was referenced back like the King Philip people would call me Mr. Fingers.
Oh my god!
Because my gloves had like really long fingers.
Yeah. Or it's just kind of cool. Like I remember when I was in high school and like I went to some bake sale that was happening at one of the competitions, and one of the moms was like, "Oh my god, you're Ellis! Like you're so cool!" And I was like, "Oh my god, what?" Because I'm just there, like nobody sees me when the whole stadium sees me. But I'm like, "Oh, I ain't shit. Whatever." Like I just did my thing, and like some other group is gonna come on, everyone's gonna forget about me 2 minutes later. But like it's cool to see, like to have that moment when you're like 17,
Yeah, and it's just because how many other times are you gonna have that moment?
Exactly.
Like it's just like maybe you'll go off and make it somewhere else, but
then most people don't. Most people don't pursue the arts because of so many layers,
so many reasons
of inequity that we're gonna address in season 2.
Oh yes, a little bit today, maybe.
But that's sweet. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Yeah. I just wanted to do some remaining shout outs.
Yes.
Because this is our shout out section.
Shout out.
I really want to just give a really, really special shout out to our percussion ensemble that we work with, the Everett Crimson Tide motherfucking percussion ensemble. Because y'all are really just a special group of kids, and you're not kids, you're students, and you're people, and you're humans, and you're artists, and you just blow my mind every single time that I'm at practice, and you don't make me question a minute of me being there any hour of my life that I am spending time with y'all. So thank you for making this season what it was, and I am so sorry that it was robbed from you halfway through your competitive season, but you gave your all every single weekend, so I'm extremely proud. I could not be more proud. I think alums and the city and everything you represent about yourself is something to be proud of. That also goes for all the other performing arts institutions and organizations and anyone who is an artist that is now suffering from the consequences of what's going on with coronavirus, especially those who really depend on this for a living. It's really an economic tragedy. So shout out to you because you need as much positive vibes as possible, and I hope this ends soon. I want to also shout out all the nonprofits that are going to be suffering heavily from this. And people, please, if you have money, donate to any nonprofit, period, because these places provide safe spaces for the well-being of our communities that our government does not fucking recognize. I would like to shout out advocates for people who are experiencing homelessness that are doing the work to protect these folks. If you live in the city, you might notice, where are the homeless people? Where are they? Do you see them? Because they've probably been arrested. That's what's happening. That's where they are. I would also like to lastly shout out all the healthcare professionals and scientists that are basically the frontline soldiers facing Rona face to face, putting their lives at risk by going to work every day and by trying to do this research to make all of us better. And that is the end of my shout out tour. Simon, you got any shout outs? Are you good?
No, I don't have any shout outs. You hit everything. Yeah. I'm not going to say what's already been said. I can just take us off the what I was saying about research and how people are staying informed, and I'm going to throw us into this article that we have found called Flatten the Curve.
Heyo!
Heyo! So basically, this curve is the curve of motherfuckers getting sick.
Wait, before you go into it, I just want to shout out my work wife, Grace Munchauer, for sharing this article with me because she was like, if you want some data-driven facts,
we want it.
That is reliable.
I need
about
it.
what's going on.
I got it.
Girl, you got it.
Girl,
and I was like, that's my work wife.
Oh.
So, bam. Go off.
I'ma go. So, the first thing that I saw when I was scrolling through this was it said, don't be racist. And this will bring us right back to that social distancing theory. Basically, just because we are not near each other does not okay, hold on. I need to say this the way that I wrote it because it doesn't make sense. You ready for this, guys? Just because we are separate does not mean, wait.
Get it together, Simon.
Yeah. Just because we are separate does not mean we are not equal. Bam.
Okay.
I said it. So, yeah, like, you know, you can't just say certain people have the coronavirus. Don't be, like, fucking racist. Don't be annoying. Don't just go start labeling people on shit because, like, it's annoying. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it's rude. It's impactful. It's, you know, as much as you might think something would be funny to say, it's not. It's not. Just know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Basically, they're also saying don't touch anything or anyone. Yeah. Yeah. So that sucks. But if you don't want to get sick, that's how you do it. Next bullet point. You don't really have much to worry about unless you have like a compromised immune system or unless you're like over 70 and then the mortality rate is like 8%. So it's low, but it's I think that's low.
Yeah, I think it's low.
I'd say that's
I don't
low.
know. We don't know any math.
I'm not a health person
I had to do so much math this week because of Rona. And I'm like, sis, I haven't done math since college, so
yeah.
like, why?
Like, it sucks that there is a mortality rate, and it is extremely higher for people over 70. But, like, if you're not over 70, you don't really have to worry that much. And, like, it's honestly, like, I think it said 0.2. Yeah. It says 0.2%.
But if you are over 70, it doesn't mean that it's the end for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, okay, you're over 70, you're completely screwed. Like, no.
You have a 92% chance of living. Like, you know, it's like...
Yeah, like, literally. Look at the glass. The glass is 92% full.
Like, jeez. So, if you're over 70.
But wait, if your phone is 92% charged, are you going to be looking for a charger?
I think I will. Like
no.
That's where we're at. Like
chill.
Anyways,
maybe we're too chill though.
We're a little bit
So that's the
chill.
thing though. I went to work today and, you know, the world is basically on lockdown. Nobody was really in the office. And I was like, am I crazy for being in the office? Like, and for taking the train and for being exposed to all this public stuff? But then I was like, nah.
But basically the issue is that, like, the U.S. healthcare system is not, like, prepared enough. So basically I was talking with a colleague about this, as I mentioned before. And he was saying at Tufts, like, they had, like, a meeting or a talk or something. And how, like, our current situation is trying to minimize the spread of infection, especially for the sake of, like, not overworking our health professionals. And it makes a lot of sense of just, you know, getting people inside, figuring out who has the disease, and, you know, like, whoever has it right now, I guess, getting help. Like, you know, it's like, yeah. I guess that's the system. But again, is that really the best thing we can do? Like, you know, it's just like, this is the best that we have prepared for ourselves. So, moving forward, hopefully, like, we're going to create a better way of handling situations like this, because even the article goes off about how, like, America is such a hot zone, or the United States, because America is the North and South America, and the United States is only 50 fucking states, guys, so we can't call everything America. Anyways,
America.
Sorry, I had to go on my social work rant in a different voice, because it's social work voice. But the article also says it's not hopeless.
It ain't hopeless.
Don't give up, boo-boo.
Hopeless.
No, hopeless. It's all about Hamilton. So stay clean, guys. Wash your fucking hands. Don't use hand sanitizer. Like, if you have me on Snapchat, which I bet none of you do, but I bet some of you do. Like, watch Good Girls, like, season 2 episode, whatever the fuck it is that they, like, that
Season
like,
2
ginger,
episode,
like,
whatever.
lady, like, puts hand sanitizer all over her face. Like, that is everybody with the coronavirus right now. So, use hand soap, because that actually cleanses your soul. Warm to hot water. But yeah, stay clean, stay connected, and support each other. Because this is a crazy freaking time, and like, as I have learned through doing the Boehm Bridge, the play about the Bosnian genocide, which is not what we are in, guys. It's not the end of the world. Again, we will say it twice and maybe a third time. Abnormal situations, like abnormal reactions to abnormal situations, is normal behavior. So when people act crazy, when crazy stuff's happening, it's pretty normal. This article says have a flu buddy. I just recently replaced one of my turtles, so...
That's fucked up, man. We are not going to talk about what you did to my niece.
I'm going to talk about whatever I want. This is our podcast. So, like...
We will get into this next season. About what Simon has done to his
she
turtles.
Deserved it. Okay, whatever. We'll move on. But get a flu buddy. Or, like, have a friend. Hopefully you guys have friends. If you don't have friends, you can, like, email us, and we will, like,
we'll
try
friends.
to be your friend as much as possible.
We'll try to the best we can.
Yeah, because we're trying to be friends for our friends, but, like, we will try to be your friend, too.
Yes.
Hopefully you're already our friend. But also get food gradually
and
responsibly. Responsibly. Like, getting 200 rolls of toilet paper is not going to stop the coronavirus. Think about other people, because they exist. Although you are allowed, okay, I'll let that out. But you're allowed to stock up on essentials. Like, you know, your family does need stuff,
so
and like, yeah, you don't know when the next time you're gonna leave your house is. So like, maybe you should get that giant fucking gallon of milk, or like, you know, that giant roll of, toothpaste, whatever that word is. Hopefully you can work from home. If not, I'm very sorry. You know, the world fucking sucks. But if you can, works for you. And then again, stay informed, do your research, do whatever you can to keep yourself from falling into like the habits that just like, you know, get you in like a crappy situation. It's, you know, just do what you can to make the smartest decisions for yourself and for those that you love. Mm-hmm. Because right now, none of us really know what we're doing, but if you're...
But when do we ever?
Yeah. Like,
nobody ever knows what they're doing.
If you're trying to be smart, you just might be. Like...
As Gucci said, bitch, I might be.
Bitch, I might be.
That was so professional.
I am so professional. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to take another sip of wine. We ready to slip into these keys?
Yes, I'm going to take the keys.
Take them away. Take away. All right. Whose keys?
I'm going to take your keys.
My keys?
So the keys to be taking away. Once again, I will reiterate. Calm down and wash your hands.
Wash your damn hands.
Soap and water are miraculous. Think of songs that you really like that you can sing for 20 seconds while you're washing your hands. Because it's not about that hand sanitizer. It's about how often you wash your hands.
Wait, before you move on, can I tell a funny story?
Do your thing.
Okay, so I just remembered there was like this one play that I saw in like 6th grade that made me want to like join drama club, and it was like this fucking washing your hands play, and it was just like this one thing where I saw people performing, and I was like, I should do this, but it was like the stupidest play where it was just like, this girl washed her hands with cold water and no soap, and she's sick and can't play with her friends. And this girl washed her hands with soap and cold water, and she ended up getting sick. And this girl washed her hands with hot water and soap, and she didn't get sick. And like ever since then, I've like always remembered to like use warm water and soap. Yeah. But like it's so funny, like the way that you learn to like keep yourself like.
It all goes back to education.
Yeah. Stay safe, y'all.
Anyways. Be considerate And practice empathy. If you don't know what empathy is, Google that shit. Because I'm not whipping out the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Not today, guys. We just can't.
My young people, please do not be discouraged. For those of you who are being impacted on how this might affect like your future in terms of like college scholarships for like sports related things or just like anything that you were like, damn, this was gonna be my last. Like I can't imagine what it's like to be a high school senior or like a college senior or somebody who's producing their thesis or finishing their PhD. Like it must suck.
Well, I mean,
you know?
like a PhD and a college thesis, like more online, but still to not be able to like go in and do the work,
but not to celebrate all of the work you've put in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So whatever happens for y'all, I just want to let you know that, you know, I hope that you choose not to be discouraged. Because if anything that I've witnessed from anything that we've experienced that could be worse than this is that the human instinct of perseverance is just amazing. Like humans will not stop. Even when you think somebody wants to die, they don't want to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even at the last moment. And it's just like I mean I've never been like suicidal or anything or like to that push to that level, but I mean just the way that humans choose to persevere, it's amazing. Cuz we're still hopeful even though we know some of the odds are just completely against us, you know? But we push through to the end. And I don't know if that's just an American perspective or that's just how we were raised, but I genuinely believe that perseverance is a human instinct.
Well, I feel like it's not to the point of like a suicidal mentality aspect. It's more of like a survival instinct, like a kind of the way that like
exactly it's a survival thing.
Yeah, you know, like it's more of a like, all right, can my life go on in a sense where I'm accepting like all this bullshit and then, you know, just throw it all the fuck away and move the fuck on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just like where, I don't know, like this like situation, I feel like it's not a dark one. Like, you know, it's not something that like it can throw you into that like that
honestly,
darkness.
It
like,
feels like a bad snowstorm.
Yeah,
that's
like,
just what it feels like right now. Just seeing how people are reacting, just like buying all this toilet paper and bread and water, whatever, bread and soap, whatever, bread and milk.
You gotta get the bread and milk.
It's just like it just feels like a bad snowstorm. It's just like it will pass. It will be over. Yeah, we're going to be fine.
Yep,
I hope.
I think
but
we'll
it looks
fine.
like we're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Based on the research.
So,
which is why we stay informed.
Gang, reiterating common themes. So, bro, do you have any announcements?
I just gotta announce that, like, when we come back for season 2, guys, like, y'all best be prepared. We have been thinking, we have been talking, we have been stressed, and we have been putting in work for y'all. So I hope that you are ready.
Yeah, because, wow, season 2 finna be fuego!
It's gonna be lit. Yeah.
Sorry, I just screamed in all your ears.
I'm not sorry.
That's gonna hurt.
I'm never gonna be sorry.
My announcements, if you have been contacted by me about any of my dance shows that I was performing in, most of them will most likely be postponed. So just be TBD about all of that until we know what's up with how Rona wants to continue.
Gotta ask her.
So you hit her up, you slide in her DMs, and you ask her, girl, what's poppin'?
Is it a she or should we say they?
I mean, I've been labeling her as a girl, but I give everybody her. I know I should probably say they, but like, you know, fuck gender norms, so whatever.
You're right. Everybody's a girl first.
Everyone's a girl, everyone's a boy, exactly. Like, who cares? I know that's problematic. I take it all back. I take it back, guys. I take it back.
Yeah, we're all just gonna say that.
Rona's a they, okay. Problematic bae. Hey. So let's sign the fuck off.
We signing off.
See y'all later.
Right.
Bye.
So,
that's just kidding. That's not the end.
This is it. Am I doing it?
You start it.
All right, so be sure to like this episode.
Share with friends and follow on social media.
Subscribe and comment on SoundCloud.
Follow on Spotify,
Apple
Podcasts,
Podcasts,
or wherever you
stream us. Email us or comment on social media.
Leave a review with any feedback
Affirmations
or topics
that you want to hear
on the show.
At the Freitae Effect at gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.
And
please
stay safe.
And be well.
Have a great rest of
Namaste.
Goodbye.